Pocketcasts. I'm HamsterBomb.
And I'm Timothy.
And you guys are back for some more Pokedex Paradox, where we dig through the Pokedex and look for a bunch of practicalities that the Pokedex claims are true, and in all honesty, no, they're probably just completely ludicrous. Now, some of them, last time, we accidentally found a way that it could actually happen. This time, no, we found something that is so absolutely no, never, will not possibly ever happen. But I'm gonna try and explain it anyway. Is with Ponyta.
We're gonna try.
We mentioned we were gonna bring up Ponyta a while back, like episode 3 was the race.
The race, yeah.
We were talking about, you know, we had Rapidash, we had Doduo, and Dodrio, a little triathlon going on. Which has absolutely nothing to do with the contestant number. I don't know why I said that, but whatever. But try and an athlete, whatever. Forgive me. So this time we were like, all right, Ponyta, we knew you had a very special thing going in your Pokedex entries, and we had to bring it to the world and tell them how stupid it is.
Your very first Dex entry.
Because Pokedex, yes, it's the first one. There's more too, but Ponyta never said anything about how fast it goes. It actually says the opposite. It says it cannot run very fast because it's like a newborn.
Yeah.
Though that's completely thrown out of the water. Let's cover this one first. Where it says it can jump incredibly far and high. Like I'm going to read one here from Fire Red. Its body is light, which I'm going to interrupt really quick. Its body is 66 pounds, and it's about 3 feet tall.
This is like...
So yes, it's very light for its size.
Like one of those racing dogs that you see, like you could just pick it up. And
yeah, it's very light for its size. Okay. Going back to it, its body is light, and its legs are incredibly powerful. It can clear Ayers Rock in one leap.
How can you be incredibly powerful and incredibly light all
and
at the
incredibly
same time?
weak? That's another thing it mentions. It says, oh, it's Ponyta is very weak at birth. It can barely stand up, but it's also jumping over Ayers Rock.
Which Ayers Rock, I learned, is an actual place.
Which, completely confuses me all the time when
it happens a lot
when Pokemon says like Mew was found in South America, and it, you know, they reference real places, and then that makes me very confused. Like, hold on, then does that mean in X and Y was it Lumio City? What's that city called? The city with the Eiffel Tower. Like, are they just? It's not France. Where are we? Because it's this other thing. Like. Don't reference other real places if they really exist. A mini rant. All right, so anyway.
So Ayers Rock.
Ayers Rock.
So if it can, what does it say? Easily.
I don't know anything about it. Like, where is that?
Ayers Rock. Honestly, I didn't look it up. I just looked up how tall it was.
You just wanted to see.
That's all I cared.
All right. Well, if anyone cares, look it up.
Ayers Rock is 1,142 feet tall.
That's an impressive jump.
It can easily clear this.
You know, I can probably jump somewhere around 2 feet.
About 2 feet? That's what I got.
If I got a running jump, I mean, I can get some more distance going too. Yeah, it'd be,
I mean, it does need to be incredibly light and have a lot of strength to do that, but it can't be both at the same time.
No, absolutely not. And I'm also not jumping with my arm. I motioned with my arm for the podcasters. So, yeah, it's already kind of messy talking about it jumping and the size, but trust me, we didn't hit the big one yet. These were just little teasers of itty-bitty things that it just scatters through its entries. And the majority of its Pokedex entries are actually about that, of it being like a weak runner at first, and then it grows up.
It follows after its mom until it can get stronger.
And it jumps incredibly far, and it's very strong.
Any of Rapidash entries even say it can jump that far?
No, but remember Rapidash said that after 10 hoof-touching ground steps, it immediately reaches max speed of 150 miles an hour. So that acceleration is like, boom, it's just gone. So no, Ponyta doesn't say anything like that, but still, how about we just get down into the dirty business and read its entry from Red and Blue. This happened right away and was actually repeated multiple times. Like I see Silver repeated this nasty one and it kept going. A Leaf Green did it as well, so they're sticking to this, so this science is real.
True.
This is true. Let me read it to you. Red and Blue. Its hooves are 10 times harder than diamonds. It can trample anything completely flat in little time. Who cares about the trampling thing? Its hooves are, Leaf Green now, its hooves are 10 times harder than a diamond. it keeps saying this. Silver, its hind legs, which have harder than diamond hooves. Now, harder than is possible. There are things that can be harder than a diamond. Mostly, there are other kinds of diamond. But still, you can't have it 10 freaking times more dense than a diamond.
Well, the only way you could even get to these other diamond-like forms are for it to be under immense pressure.
Which,
okay, is Ponyta living in the middle of the earth?
Let's assume it had incredible pressure because it's true. It's in the Pokedex. It's true. Our job is to figure out how it happened. Oh, come on. Come on. Are you questioning the validity of the Pokedex?
Are you questioning the validity of the Pokedex?
How dare I? I don't know. My show's called Pokedex Paradox.
Yeah, I mean, so who knows? You know.
It's not the entire point of the show. But, so, I think the densest, like, the dense, I was looking at the density of diamond.
I was looking at the hardness.
Which are two different things. It actually used the word harder, so you're correct in saying that's more true, but, like, what do you determine for hardness? I can't really put a number to that. So I was looking at densities, and sure, like, the density of the diamond, we can make slightly more dense diamond, and it's based on the structure of how those molecules are being combined together, right? The atoms are so packed in. And here's a visualization I was thinking, like an analogy, because obviously not everyone out there is going to be like totally hip on the periodic table and the elements and all that stuff and understanding how that works.
Like me.
So here, imagine this, because diamond is a state of carbon, right? So carbon is awesome because it can combine and make so many different versions of the same thing, right? That's the reason we're here. It's the reason we're alive.
Carbon.
We're carbon-based. It's how it works. It's just so crazy. There's so many cool things you can build with it. Well, the densest form of carbon is diamond. Because it's so versatile, there's a way you can even take those atoms and pack them so densely together that you can't do, like, it's so indescribably. Okay, how about this? Let's say that the space that the atoms are allowed to take are bleachers, watching a football game, right? Forget about the space in the football field. Forget about the air above the seat and the metal or concrete or wood or whatever beneath the seat. The only space that these atoms can go in is in a seat, okay? So, say you have loose, more malleable forms of carbon. That's a football game where not too many people want to watch, right? There's, I don't know, there's scattered seats here and there, but they have positions. Like, if we're actually talking about trying to get more scientific, they have certain positions that they need to sit in order for the structure to really be connected, right? Pretend like, you know how some people, like, put up signs and they'll do dance things, like, think of the idea how that needs to work. They need to be in certain places, right? So, think about it like that. If we're going all the way up to a diamond, you basically fill every single seat, right? And the reason that it can get so dense is because each little group of people, let's say each row, they all are wearing something, like they painted their chests or they have signs, and they all need to stand in that position because they all have a job, and that's why they were able to get that dense, okay? Because otherwise, even if you have a sold-out game, if you looked around really closely, you'd probably be able to pick out, oh, there was an empty seat. That person went to the bathroom. That is not allowed in a diamond, right? No. So it's perfectly dense. I know it's a super silly analogy, but I'm trying to at least get people to understand that that's what a diamond is. That's how it gets so dense, and that's why, compared to other things, say, like, helium, you know, if we're just looking at the atom of helium, you've only got 2 electrons, right? Very airy, but the thing is, helium's happy and it doesn't want to bond to things. Carbon is different, and carbon wants to bond with stuff.
Wants to be everything.
It wants to be everything, and it can, but the only thing it can't be is denser than diamond, because that's the limit. Like, think of, like, the speed of light. It's the limit. You cannot get any farther than that. No, it's not. It's like, okay, pretend like you have this totally sold out football stadium, and the Ticketmaster guy comes up to the front and says, hey, so I decided that these tickets are going for a lot of money, and I decided we're going to print 10 times more tickets. We're going to sell 10 times more seats. And the CEO's like, we can't do that. We don't have enough chairs, you idiot. What do you think we're gonna do? But, like, what'd you do with those people? You can't. Because remember, I said, forget about the air above, forget about the space below, forget about the field. You need more people in the same seat, which it can't happen unless, which is where I'm gonna get in my rant, it's not a solid. Now, we're changing states of matter. It's the only way for this to possibly happen, for anything to get more hard than a diamond. I'm saying denser, because to me, that's hardness, right? Something more dense.
It's different.
It's different, but
because I looked at hardness and you're looking at density.
I know it's different, but this would have to be a part of it, right? So, okay, if we're changing states of matter, I'm gonna briefly try and explain what they are. We know what a solid is, right? Think of a rock. A rock is a solid. Easier, let's look at an ice cube, because I can keep using this, okay? We got an ice cube. We know that when you heat up a solid enough, it's going to reach what is called a melting point, and it's going to turn into a liquid. Now we have water. We heat up the water, and that's going to turn into a gas. It's going to evaporate. You can also superheat the ice, the solid, or any other solid, and superheat it to where it immediately bypasses the liquid and becomes a gas.
Does ice
can do that, yeah. I'm sure you've seen it happen. Yeah, have you seen, like, steam coming off of ice if you, like, threw it on, like, I don't know, a stove or something like that? I don't know why you would, but they will.
But you usually still see some water somewhere, though, I feel like.
You will, yes, but it's called sublimation. That happens. Now, hopefully, you guys were, at the very least, when you learned about states of matter, you were taught about plasma, the one above this. There's other states of matter that people are...
Me being from public school education, they never spoke about plasma.
Okay, if they told you there's 3 states of matter and they used that analogy with the water and the ice cube, I'm sorry they were lying to you, because that analogy falls apart when you go to plasma, because it's just a little too hard. So I'm assuming all those public school kids are looking up at the sun like, what the heck is that then? Because the way that the sun works, and...
We don't think too hard about these things.
Okay, well, here, think about this. So when we had a solid, everyone was sitting in their seat in that stadium, and everyone had a job to sit in there. When it's a liquid, imagine everyone's allowed to get up and move around.
Like go to the bathroom, like you were saying. And
right, they're allowed to get up and go to the bathroom, and the definition of a liquid is... a state that will form to the shape of its container.
So, like, you can't leave the stadium is all.
You can't, well,
instance, right?
The stadium thing's going to fall apart when I get to a gas, but it will, I'll come back to it. So the gas, you heat that up some more, and they're basically given more freedoms to move, okay? They can move amongst each other, but they're still, you know, atoms freely moving within one thing, right? A cloud of water, right? The gas clouds, right? Which that's what clouds are. So they're freely moving around. If you took that idea of what we required to do to make that step of solid to liquid and liquid to gas, if you do that again and that happens, actually, the majority of the universe is plasma. You take that step again, what's happening is...
After gas is what you're saying.
After gas. You superheat a gas. The electrons in each atom have so much energy, and they're so free, able to move. They are the ones that are now allowed to get up out of their seat, and they can move around freely in the cloud, where their nucleuses, their hosts, or they may be over there, everything's just buzzing around, it's flying around, it's superheated and packed, and there's so much energy, it doesn't matter where they are. And that's why when a star runs out of energy and it collapses, it actually creates other elements, a ton of other elements, because nothing really, at that moment, if you went from plasma to solid or plasma to liquid or whatever, it's gonna end up being in the wrong place. That electron might be way over here by this guy.
So it won't fit, so therefore it
doesn't fit, and it has to immediately say, oh, elements. Shoot. Right, like everyone suddenly needs a dance partner. Right. You're playing musical chairs with elements when that sucker blows.
Okay.
So... That's how that works when you get plasma, okay? So I need to make sure that everyone understands that when we go to this other state of matter, which is going to be my solution for Ponyta's hooves. I am coming back to it, I swear, because somehow we need to make even denser football field. The reason...
That was just a weird statement.
No, we need to pack more seats in here because, man, the Super Bowl is making us too much money. We need more people sitting here, right? We got to
certainly not a Bengals
10
game.
times more. Yeah, certainly not a Cincinnati Bengals game. No. So basically... If I'm going to keep the analogy going, the reason that we can't pack more people in there is because those people need wiggle room. They gotta, I mean, they're sitting in their seat, but they're kind of moving around. They got the cup holder over here. They're leaning back. They're just,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, they're like stretching every once in a while. Yeah, they can stand up. They're allowed to. That's just still their seat. They can do whatever they want. They need to stop moving so that we can use every single square inch of space in order to compress them together.
Like, we need to fit people in between the seats?
We need to fit people into people. Like, there will be no more gap of there is no seat here to there is nothing here but a person. Okay? You need to make a layer...
That doesn't even sound physically possible at all.
Well, not for the people. Forget about that. I'm trying to keep the analogy with atoms.
Even with the anatoms, that means like the atom itself becomes more like a liquidy kind of thing.
Yeah, there would be
or smaller? Does it become smaller?
It's another state of matter. Let's be safe. Okay, so this is probably going to come up again in more detail in the episode where we talk about Regice. We're probably going to be talking about super cold things as we mentioned in the Macargo episode, but for now, I'm going to briefly go over this just for the sake of getting to the new state of matter. These scientists were able to experiment with superheating using sublimation, like I said before, various things. Sometimes it's sodium, sometimes it's other things, but let's just say it's sodium. They superheat the sodium, suck it into another chamber. In this other chamber, they shoot it with a bunch of lasers to stop the movement of the atoms, now that it's a gas. And then now that it's a gas, and they're not moving, they use an electromagnetic magnet to pull them into one clump, shoot them with more lasers, and try and get them to stop moving, right? Because we're trying to prevent them from sharing and having any energy, okay? Now, yes, they were in an oven to begin with, but we tried to use that to bypass get to the ability where we can just aim at the gas and compress it. Because it's easier to compress it as a gas. So... take that into
so
it's not like you're taking a rock and you're crushing it in your hands and making it even denser like a diamond. You don't go from diamond to denser than diamond. You would need to go to gas and then somehow make it denser than diamond.
So what you're doing is you're heating it in the one chamber, moving it over, and then using the lasers to remove that energy
a completely jet black vacuum of a chamber.
Okay.
Because even light will warm the atoms and heat them back up because light's gonna hit them.
So are these visible lasers then, or not? I would assume not.
Well, I don't want to get too much in the experiment right now, but let's just say
it's so fascinating. I can't help it.
We will get into. I promise we will get more into this experiment later with Regice episode.
More science.
More, but later. But not now. So because I've already got to explain this, and you have your own thing with Ponyta. So they basically by nearly stopping those atoms in a clump, right? Because now they're by that magnet in a clump, nearly stopped, okay? For one, when you stop atoms, what happens?
It gets cold?
It gets freaking cold. I mean, what absolute zero, you know what defines absolute zero, right? Like, not the number, but like why that's the limit, what happens?
All motion stops?
Yes. Now, all motion stops. That means the atomic level. That means that atom with the electron buzzing around, going places, the electron doesn't even have enough heat or energy, same thing, to move. It stops. You stopped the electron. Everything stops. Complete stillness. That is incredibly cold. So cold, it's like cold is not even an appropriate word. It's more... And we'll hear about other crazy things that they were experimenting with this thing. They were actually shooting light beams through this to see what it would do. And it actually slowed down the light to where the speed of light, which is somewhere around like 300,000 kilometers per second or something like that, slowing that down to about 15 miles an hour to nearly stopping the light inside of the...
That's ridiculous.
Of the cloud of this stuff. No, because that's what this is.
Okay, so how is this getting to Ponyta?
So, basically, what this state of matter is called. I wanted to at least get to that point so you guys understood what I'm talking about, so this doesn't go over your head, because that's the point of the show. This state of matter, I hate what it's called, and forgive me, I'm going to try my best here. It's called a Bose-Einstein condensates. Or condensates, I believe is what it's called. I'm just gonna read this little snippet from livescience.com, and I may jump around based on what they say. Because, yeah, they basically talk about the cooling and the lasers and the magnets and all that stuff. This is an extremely low temperature, very, very close to absolute zero. This is actually, as far as we're aware, unless there's extraterrestrial life that managed to do this better than we have, this is, on record, the coldest anything has ever got in the universe ever. The universe cannot naturally do this. Like, you gotta try and do this, right? So,
of course, we gotta try.
Here's my quote coming from Live Science. Quote, "Since there is almost no kinetic energy being transferred from one atom to another, the atoms begin to clump together. There are no longer thousands of separate atoms, just one," their quotes, "super atom." A BEC is used to study quantum mechanics on a macroscopic level. Light appears to slow down as it passes through a BEC, allowing the study of particle/wave paradox. BEC also has many of the properties of a superfluid flowing without friction. BECs are also used to simulate conditions that might apply in black holes. So they have uses for this. It's really kooky, weird stuff. We may go into it later. But the big takeaway was the only way to make anything denser, on that football field than a diamond is to take the atoms of the diamond. That's the next level, right? Because you think of what plasma was, of making them freely flow through each other.
Okay.
If you go below solid, you're taking them and making a mega atom. You're crushing even that into one thing.
Are we actually taking then the diamond, we're taking it from a solid to a liquid to a gas, then to super atom?
Well, you would actually bypass liquid. I don't even think carbon would...
You don't think carbon would...
I don't even know if you could do it. But still, that's like the only way, density-wise, to get anything denser than a diamond. Because you might be able to go harder, like what you're going to say, but here's the big problem. Even if this magical scientific craziness is happening in Ponyta's hooves, okay? Because it needs to be, for one, it needs to be in a vacuum to even sustain that. So, and light can't even touch it. This sucker is running and has a tremendous amount of energy and can jump over air's rock.
So it's breaking this atom every time it takes a step.
Oh, no. What it's doing is it has to suck the energy out of it through its legs. And here comes my reason of why it's fire type. Since it's sucking so much energy out of its hooves, its back catches on fire. And it's not trying to do it. It just has to retain the density of its hooves. That's Ponyta. I don't know. It has super atoms for feet. And that's what...
Super atoms.
Yes, that is what they're called. They are super atoms for feet. No, I'm sorry, it can't happen.
Super atoms for feet.
And also, what's really great, assuming it, like, kept its hoof up and, like, blocked the light with it. Say, like, let's say you were in a pitch black room.
Okay.
And Ponyta held its hooves up over a light bulb, okay? And you turned the light on. On the other side of the light bulb, the room's just illuminated. But on our side, it goes... And it goes slowly through the hooves until it, boom, reaches the other side, and then it can light the room up. That's just wrong.
Strange. Ponyta's hooves cannot be...
Yeah, I'm sorry. So from density standpoint, no. I'm going to say... Because 10 times... Okay, because I even have to compare the density of the diamond compared to this near absolute zero thing. And even it is a cloud. Because if you think about how an atom really works, it's more of a cloud than anything because the center, the nucleus, is so tiny compared to the rest of it. Think of an Olympic stadium. If that Olympic stadium space is everywhere the electrons are allowed to orbit and move, orbit based on Bohr's model, I don't know which one's really true with quantum mechanics and all that nonsense. So for now, I'm going to say Bohr's model, which is the traditional one. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about with, like, think of, like, the illustrations in, like, Big Bang Theory with, like, you got the bubbly center and then this thing on the outside given a casual, smooth orbit. I think that's completely bogus and it's not true, but it's yet to be completely disproven. So, assuming that's what's happening, that space the electrons are allowed to move in, if you took a marble and you stood in the middle of that Olympic Stadium, that is the size of the nucleus of that atom. A marble. So, when you make a super atom, it's mostly gonna be a cloud. But there's gonna be some super dense thing, right? Because the whole thing is, it's weird, right? It's just weird, okay?
It's just not gonna happen. That's all we need. With Ponyta, it's just not gonna happen.
I have no idea how it could feasibly ever happen. And for the density of 10 times denser than a diamond, you may actually need to go farther than what would be absolute zero, which basically means it is impossible. Because nothing can get colder than absolute zero.
For the purpose of Ponyta, it is not possible.
Completely impossible.
That is all that matters right at this moment.
If it was possible,
you can rant about this for 5 hours.
I know. The most dangerous thing Ponyta could ever do is touch you with its hoof. It would kill anything. You may go. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna keep it short because I didn't get too much into the science of it. Besides that, there is a material out there that we know can be harder than diamonds. They're considering it to be harder than diamonds.
What is that even? Is hardness an arbitrary up for debate thing?
I don't believe so. I think there is a level.
That's why I looked at density, because it had numbers.
So this is from physics.org.com.
Oh, wait, no. Physics.org?
Physics.org.
Wow. PHYSORG.com. Okay, I was just confused. Like, why would you have org and com in your whatever? Is it an organization or are you commercial? You can go ahead. So this is their quote.
Currently, diamond is regarded to be the hardest known material in the world.
Universe, it should be. We'll go ahead.
But by considering large compressive pressures under indenter, scientists have calculated that a material called wurtzite boron nitrate or
wurtzite boron nitrate.
That's nitrate.
Oh, nitrate. Okay.
It's different.
I know.
So WBN.
I have dyslexia.
WBN, like the wrestling. Okay.
Okay.
I accidentally just typed in WBN earlier without thinking.
The only thing that could be more dense than a diamond is wrestling.
You are so off topic with this.
No, that was...
I get it.
It's so bad.
I get it.
But it made me laugh. I'm sorry. You can go on.
So to continue with the quote.
Go ahead.
WBN has a greater indentation strength than diamond.
Okay.
The scientists also calculated the nanomaterial ionsdaleite, also called hexagonal diamond, since it's made of carbon and is similar to diamond. It is even stronger than WBN and 58% stronger than diamond, setting a new record. So it's still a carbon-based thing, and it's only 58%
isn't even
not 10
that's
times.
That's not even 2 times. So yeah,
right.
I mean I don't care.
So it's not happening.
I don't care. That didn't get anywhere.
And essentially the WBN, which I was looking more into, has to be retained underneath these pressures.
Yeah, doesn't it?
So
this analogy is still going in my head. I'm sorry. Keep going with their pressures, then. No? Come on, keep going.
WBN increases its strength by 78% compared to its strength before bond flipping.
What?
Yes! So the bond flipping gets interesting.
Oh.
Scientists calculate that WBN reaches an indentation strength of 114 GPa, billions of pascals is what that is.
Yeah.
Well beyond diamond's 97 GPa under the same indentation conditions. In the case of ionsdaleite, the same compression mechanism also causes bond flipping, yielding an indentation strength of 152 GPa, which is 58% higher than the corresponding value of diamond. So this is how we're doing it.
So, for our football stadium analogy, everyone sitting in their seats suddenly realizes that there is a more efficient way to sit in a better organization. Yes. Even if it's the same amount of people, they might say, oh, it if we had to pack more people in here, I guess I don't need to sit by my family. If I sat by people who were my exact same size in this row of seats that are designed for people of my height and weight, and the different they grouped themselves like that, then yeah, you could theoretically make something denser, harder. But
you have to be able to constantly create that bond flipping and the pressure underneath like Ponyta has to weigh an immense amount to even get to the state where
Ponyta weighs 66 pounds
to happen, to create it being 58% higher, only 58% harder than diamonds.
You know, maybe there's only like a thin layer on the bottom of its hoof that's 10 times harder than a diamond. No, that couldn't even work.
It says its hooves are 10 times harder. It doesn't say a thin layer on the bottom of its
I tried.
hoof.
I'm trying to make this one possible, but I think this is just the worst. This one's so impossible.
It's not, I think through this science, they've proven that we can make something that is harder than a diamond, but it's not gonna exist
you can make something
outside of laboratory
Right. And same thing
settings.
for what I said. Like, you can make something that's theoretically denser than a diamond on an atomic level, but is by no means going to be 10 times harder than a diamond.
It's just not going to exist outside the laboratory setting either.
And the best part is that's biological. That's a living
I don't
organism.
even want to talk about that.
Yeah, that's like your fingernail being 10 times denser than diamonds. Can you imagine? That'd be so cool.
That would be so awful. They would grow and you could never trim them.
I was just thinking, like, at first, like, oh man, I could finally like cut through or like carve anything I needed, or like, and then oh shoot, you wait a month and now you're gonna dread that because now you have these blades on your hands. All right, we gotta stop. I'm sorry. I don't know where that was even going. So that was a mess.
That was an absolute mess. We tried.
It's not possible. I'm just gonna put the stamp of failure on Ponyta. It's just completely impossible. I'm sorry, Pokedex. I don't know what you were thinking. It's not even. You can't even say 2 times harder.
No.
Like, that you could even if it just okay. What if it just said its hooves are harder than diamonds? Because there's one of them in there that just said it's silver. It said its hind legs which have harder than diamond hooves.
I can accept that.
You could pull that one?
I feel like I could accept that using this being harder. It's not much harder, but
it's harder.
It's harder.
That makes it true. That's all it needs.
With the Ionsdaleite.
That's why when it said 10 times harder, I was like, there's no good... No.
Unfortunately, that's its first Dex entry, so that's all the Dex entries are based off after that one. So
that's true. Also, they said it after that point, and as well. I'm pretty sure even after when they tried to clarify, it's still 10
But
times.
also keep in mind, it has to create this immense amount of pressure with its body to retain these hooves and burn fire out its back and still live in our universe somehow.
Wow.
And it's also very weak. Keep that in mind.
You know, I like how when Pokemon Diamond it didn't mention that. You know, like, it probably should have mentioned the Pokemon whose hooves are supposedly 10 times denser than Diamond in Pokemon Diamond. Nope. Okay, because you can catch them pretty early in that game. But I guess that's just not a big deal. No one cared.
Not important.
Alright, whatever. So, anyway, I guess we completely blew Ponyta's out of the water, and he's just a poor, sad, sorry horse that can jump over Ayers Rock.
See, I keep thinking in my head
it can barely walk, but it can leap 1,000 feet.
Ponyta without any hooves. It just doesn't have any hooves, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, and then I could see it barely being able to walk because it's a newborn, and then it jumps 1,000 feet in the air, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know, maybe because it jumps so high, when it lands, it's crushing its hooves so hard.
It has to retain that, though.
I know it would. It doesn't matter. It would just shatter. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. And we gotta move on.
It's all wrong.
It's all wrong. We just gotta go. We just gotta accept it. It can't happen. We're done. Ponyta, I'm sorry. You can't happen. But anyway, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join us next time for some more game science. Be sure to follow us either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and we will see you all in the next episode of Pokedex Paradox.
Bye-bye.